Hi guys, it's Miss Morales again, and this time I am whispering because I am in the George Memorial Library, and I wanted to share a new book with you for tonight. This one is called The Red Bicycle, The Extraordinary Tale of an Ordinary Bicycle. Now, I thought this book was really interesting. It's about a bike, or a little boy who works really hard to buy his first bike, and then it's a story about the bike and what it does over the bike's lifetime. So I thought I would just start with this one and share it with you. Leo wipes the sweat off his brow. It's a hot day, and he's almost finished mowing the neighbor's lawn. Today, he will meet his goal. He will have earned enough money to buy a new bicycle. For 2 years, Leo has watched his money grow. Each time a neighbor paid him for mowing a lawn, raking leaves, or shoveling snow, he would take his money to the bank. Then he would stop at the bike shop across the street to visit his bicycle. It has 18 gears and a suspension fork and painted bright red. Leo finishes mowing and collects his pay. Then he runs to the bank. There, he withdraws money from his bicycle and hurries to the bike shop and watches while the owner counts his money. "Congratulations, Leo," she says. She knows how much he's wanted this bicycle. Leo names the bicycle Big Red. He rides Big Red to school, he rides to the swimming pool, he rides it to soccer practice. Leo rides Big Red everywhere. Leo is getting older and he's growing. He grows so tall one summer that his knees hit Big Red's handlebars. It is time for a new bicycle. But Leo loves Big Red. Even though the bicycle is a few years old, he has taken good care of it, and Big Red looks almost brand new. He wheels Big Red into the garage, feeling a little sad. He walks to school thinking about what to do with the bike. Leo wants to give Big Red to someone who will love the bicycle as much as he does. But everyone he knows already owns a bike. After school, Leo walks to the bike shop. The owner asks where Big Red is, and Leo explains that he has outgrown the bicycle. He needs a bigger bike, he says, and a new home for Big Red. "I have an idea for you," she says, pointing to a poster. An organization in town is collecting bicycles. They send the bikes to a faraway country to people who can't afford a bicycle but need one for transportation. Right there, Leo decides to donate Big Red. It will have a new home where it's really needed. Leo wants Big Red to look up its best for its trip. He washes the frame until it gleams. He oils the chain. He puts on new hand grips. His father takes a photo of Leo working on Big Red. When he's finished, Leo hops on the too small bicycle and rides to the shipping container where Big Red will start its new journey. This is the pair's last ride together. The shipping container is surrounded by bikes and people there to help out. One man demonstrates how to take apart the bicycle for packing. Leo gets to work. He grabs a bike and unhooks the front brake. Then he removes the front tire and pedals. He loosens the handlebars and lowers the seat. With a man's help, he ties the front wheel to the frame and loses count. He ties the front wheel to the frame and the pedals under the seat. Leo works on so many bikes he loses count. Finally, one bicycle remains. Big Red. Leo takes apart his bicycle. He places it in the container, and it is one of 462 bikes, spare parts, tools, knapsacks, and soccer balls on their way to Africa. Leo feels a lump in his throat as the door closes. The driver hops into the cab and toots the horn, and everybody claps and cheers. Leo waves as the truck pulls away. Goodbye, Big Red. Have a great adventure. At the shipping port, a crane loads the container into a big freighter. The red bicycle is squeezed against the container door. It's secure for now, but the ocean can be rough, especially in a storm. The ship leaves port and heads south. Containers shift as the wind whips up and the waves get higher near South America. The ship turns and heads straight across the Atlantic Ocean toward West Africa, hugging the coast until it reaches Ghana. After 29 days, the red bicycle reaches land. A crane picks up the container and loads it onto a truck. As the truck lumbers north, the container rocks back and forth on a rough road. The Big Red bangs against the door each time the truck dips into a pothole and then out again. Finally, the truck stops at the city in Burkina Faso, but Big Red's journey is not over. The bicycles are unloaded and assembled. Their frames glint in the African sun. The organization that helps widows and orphans will distribute the bicycles to the families who need them. Bicycles save time and effort. Children ride them to school. The older folks use them to transport goods to the market. Awa Sodago is a grandmother who is raising 3 of her grandchildren. She and her granddaughter, Elisita, are waiting for a bicycle. Elisita gazes at the bicycle. She spots a green bike with knobby tires and wide, upright handlebars. It looks too big. Her eyes flip from bicycle to bicycle until she sees a bright red frame. Perfect! She can see herself breeze into the market on a red bicycle. One by one, new owners claim their bicycles. Elisita locks her eyes on Big Red, hoping no one else will wheel it away. Finally, her grandmother's name is called. Only a few bicycles remain. Big Red leans against the container. Elisita rushes over to it. "This one," she says. In the bush taxi on the way back to the village, Elisita worries. She has never ridden a bicycle. Her grandmother pats her head. "It will be no problem for you, Elisita." Elisita leans Big Red against the baboa tree in the center of her village. Just a few kids gather, and then more, until it seems as if the whole village is watching. She grips the handlebars tightly. The handle grips feel nice. They're smooth and new. She hitches up her pane and climbs onto the bicycle. She keeps one hand on a tree. Big Red wobbles. Elisita hops off the seat and plants her flip-flops firmly on the ground. Still straddling the bike, she begins to walk. Her friends clap and call out her name. Her friend Samira offers to push her. Elisita climbs up on the seat. And they're off. Samira jogs alongside Big Red, holding onto its seat. Then she takes her hand away. The bicycle slows down, wobbles, and Elisita tumbles off. "You need to go faster," Samira says. This time, when Samira lets go, Elisita paddles hard. The bike is better behaved now. Elisita leaves Samira behind and pedals so fast that she is soon past the last house in the village. She has done it. She stops and turns, sailing back into the village and riding circles around the cheering kids. Awa comes to watch. She cheers along with kids and claps to Alicita as she sweeps by on the red bicycle. Over the next few weeks, Awa and Alicita put Big Red to work. They have a plot of land where they grow sorghum. It is ready to harvest, but there's one big problem. The birds often get to the sorghum before them. With Big Red, Alicita can ride to the field every morning to scare off the birds. Thanks to Big Red, they harvest more sorghum than normal. With more sorghum, the family eats better. Awa can also make a popular drink from sorghum called dolo. Making dolo produces extra yeast and draft, which is good animal feed. Awa trades the draft with her neighbors who have livestock in exchange for more sorghum. Alicita begins to ride Big Red to the village markets. She knows she has a basket to carry items for. She now has a basket to carry items for sale. She sells the extra yeast, bags she crochets out of plastic, and shea butter that she and Awa make. With extra money, Awa sends Alicita's younger brother and sister to school. Over time, Big Red becomes an important part of the family. Alicita rides to the sorghum field and the market and sometimes even gives her siblings a lift to school. Big Red is well used and well worn. One day, Awa takes a folded paper from her pane and hands it to her granddaughter. Inside the paper is some money. Awa explains that she has been saving for another bicycle. With 2 bicycles, we can earn even more, she explains. The next day, Alicita takes a bush taxi to Kunduga. She walks through the streets, looking at bikes for sale. She stops at a shop where a mechanic is fitting pedals onto a bright green bicycle. It has a wire basket attached to the front. It looks the right size. She clears her throat. The mechanic looks up and smiles. Looking for a bicycle? He asks. Alicita nods and points to the bike. Yes, this one. When Alicita arrives back in her village with the new bicycle, she is in for a surprise. A pig has gotten away from its owner and plowed through her family's courtyard, knocking into Big Red and trampling the spokes. Alicita knows what will happen now. There is no money to fix the bicycle, so she will have to sell its parts one by one. The new green bike will take its place, but Alicita will miss Big Red. It was her first bicycle. Alicita is at the market arranging her goods when a little pickup truck parks nearby. A man gets out. He chats with people, eventually stopping in front of Alicita. His name is Bukhari. He says he is looking for bicycles. He works at a medical clinic that sends health workers on bicycles to visit sick people in villages without doctors or nurses. He needs more bikes. Alicita thinks about Big Red and its broken spikes. She tells Bukhari that she has a bicycle, but it needs repairs. She agrees to meet him at her house later. When Bukhari arrives, he sees a faded red bicycle propped against a shed. He examines every bit of it: the tires, the wheel, its broken spokes, the frame, the chain, the gears, the seat, the hand grips. He nods. We can fix it. It's a strong bicycle. We will make it into an ambulance for a clinic. Awa and Alicita tell him the story of how they got Big Red and how important it has been to the family. Alicita wheels Big Red to the pickup truck, pats the seat, and whispers, "Thank you." Bakari takes Big Red and the other bicycles to a workshop to the outskirts of Kudugu. He sorts the bicycles into two groups. Some are strong but need repairs. The others are at the end of their working lives. Bakari will use parts from them to fix the good bicycles. Bakari's eyes fall on the faded red bicycle. Big Red looks pretty good compared to other bikes. It has been well taken care of, but it needs stronger wheels, a new seat, new brakes and hand grips, and a paint job. He picks up a wrench and gets to work. After a few hours of tinkering, he is done. Big Red looks almost new. Now, Bakari thinks, let's turn it into an ambulance. With a metal hoop and nail, Bakari attaches a trailer to the bicycle. The trailer has the same tough wheels as the bicycle. On the trailer is a stretcher, propped up so a person can see out. A safety belt keeps patients safe during the ride. There is also a canopy to keep off the sun in the rain. Big Red is ready for work. See, here's the stretcher. The sun is coming up, and Herodata winds a colorful scarf around her head. The sun is coming up, and Herodata winds a colorful scarf around her head, slips on her flip-flops, and walks across the courtyard. Her mother is already pounding grain. Herodata smiles and waves and calls, "See you later." The young woman is off to the health clinic where she volunteers. Herodata strides down the road. She wants to be on time. Today she will make her first visit to a village on the new bicycle ambulance. A fine red dust coats everything. When she arrives at the clinic, she pauses to brush the dust off from the red bicycle ambulance parked out front. Inside the clinic, an older man is loading bandages and medicines into a medical bag. He shakes Herodata's hand. "How are you? How is your family? What's new?" Herodata loads the medical bag into the back of the bicycle. She adds some bottled water and a blanket. As she pedals to the village, she sees other bicycles pass by. One is carrying a load of something so big, Herodata can barely see the rider. Another has 3 children clinging to it, and one has a little goat tucked into the basket in the back. After riding for half an hour, Herodata arrives at the village. She hears the chatter of voices before she sees a crowd of people. She jumps off the bicycle, leans against a tree, and wiggles her way through the crowd. A young boy lies on the ground, his head on a woman's lap. His eyes are scrunched shut. He's very quiet. A woman speaks softly to the boy, patting his head. No one wants to move him. He's in pain. His leg lies at an awkward angle. It's broken. Herodata speaks up. She explains who she is and points to her bicycle ambulance. 2 men help her remove the portable stretcher. Herodata grabs a water bottle and some pills for pain. The men ease the boy into the stretcher. He cries out as they lift him. She explains that she will take him to the clinic, where a doctor can fix his leg. He must be brave, she tells him. Off they go on Big Red. At the clinic, a doctor sets the boy's leg. Herodata pats Big Red's seat as she leaves. "Good work," she says quietly. Excuse me. Herodita's first day with the bicycle ambulance becomes a legend in the villages around the clinic. Everyone knows who she is when she rolls into town. The kids call the bike Le Grand Rouge. Bukhari visits regularly to check on the bicycle. He brings parts to keep Le Grand Rouge working well. He's pleased that the bike has the name that has done so much good. Over the next few years, Herodita visits as many villages, sometimes 3 hours ride away. A bicycle allows her to deliver medications and bring sick people to the hospital. One day, it's time for Herodita to move on. She's gained valuable experience with medical clinic at Le Grand Rouge, and she finds a job in town with a bigger clinic. At the end of her last ride, she puts the bicycle away, pats the seat, and whispers, "Thank you." She stares at the red bicycle for a minute, wondering where its journey began. Far away for sure, she thinks, but there is no hint that the girl pedaled along the dirt road carting goods to the market, or that a boy once whipped around small North America town on a red bicycle, but they remember Big Red, and Herodita will too. Okay, now there is a section at the end of this book that I'll let you read if you want to. It does have pictures of what bicycles can do in these countries and how they're used. You can see that they do some pretty amazing things, especially the guy with all the bananas. That's really interesting to me. But what I thought this book was really interesting was with everything that's going on, how every single time they outgrew something, they donated it and it became useful to the next person. So I thought that was a really good lesson. So again, I will see y'all again tomorrow. But again, this was The Red Bicycle, the extraordinary story of one ordinary bicycle. And this one is written by Jude, Isabella, and illustrated by Simone Shin. Okay, thank you guys. See you tomorrow.